Hey guys, welcome to Through the Bible Verse by Verse, a plain and simple study of the entire Bible, book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse. We're in Exodus, and we're going to try to tackle chapters 9 and 10. And we're actually dealing with God's response to Pharaoh. God had already told Moses that he was going to use Pharaoh to show his power. And what that means is that God is using his stubbornness, his hardness of heart. And this is kind of a very interesting look at how God is breaking down this mighty nation of Egypt with the different plagues. And in reality, he is actually attacking each of their God. More so, not because that it changes their heart, because in reality, it doesn't change their heart that we're going to see. Even in other words, after after all of this, they're still going to rebel against God. The idea is that God is showing how useless or the futile these false gods are, and I think more so to Israel. Keep this in mind: Israel has been in Egypt now 430 years, and they have picked up a lot of pagan ways. That they won't overcome for a long time. So let's get into it. And all right, so they have already been through several plagues. Now God's going to step it up. It says, "Then the Lord said to Moses, go in to Pharaoh and say to him, this is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, say. Let my people go, so that they may worship me. But if you refuse to let them go and keep holding them, then the Lord's hand will bring a severe plague against your livestock in the fields, the horses, donkeys, camels, herds, and flock. The Lord will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, so that nothing of all that the Israelites own will die. And the Lord set a time, saying, tomorrow the Lord will do this thing in the land. Then the Lord did this the next day. All the Egyptians' livestock died, but none among the Israelites' livestock died." Now, this is kind of interesting in that you see this great distinction. And the reason why I say that is because if you were Pharaoh or anyone else, why wouldn't you humble yourself before God? Why wouldn't you? In other words, plague after plague after plague, they're still not humbling themselves. Now, if you remember when we started our journey through the Bible, I said one of the things we're going to see is the unbelievable hardness of heart by sin, the exceedingly sinfulness of man. And when you see this is one of the reasons why you say God is just for his judgments against sinful man. It's unbelievable. All right, let's continue. Verse 7 says, Pharaoh sent messengers who saw that not a single one of the Israelites' livestock was dead, but Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not let the people go. Now also remember, God is saying, not only is your heart hard that you're not responding to me, and keep this in mind that he is giving Pharaoh every chance to change his heart. And so God says, I'm just going to also harden your heart even more. Verse 8. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, take handfuls of furnace soot, and Moses is to throw it towards the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh, and it would become fine dust over the entire land of Egypt, and it would become festering boils on man and beast throughout the land of Egypt. So they took the furnace soot and stood before Pharaoh. Moses threw it towards the heavens, and it became festering boils on man and beasts. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were on the magicians as well as on all the Egyptians. The Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not listen to them as the Lord had told Moses. So now we see that even the magicians can't copy this. They can't, in other words, they couldn't cast boils, right, on Moses. Verse 13, the Lord said to Moses, get up early in the morning and present yourself to Pharaoh. Tell him, this is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says, let my people go so that they may worship me. Otherwise, I'm going to send my plague against you, your officials, and your people. Then you will know that there is no one like me in all the earth. Now remember when Pharaoh said, I don't know God, right? I don't know Yahweh. Well, he's getting to know Yahweh. Verse 15. By now I could have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with the plague, and you would have been obliterated from the earth. However, I have let you live for this purpose, to show you my power and to make known my name in all the earth. Now we will see this repeated throughout Scripture. Romans 9 comes to mind. Notice he says, I could have destroyed you, but I'm letting you live, and I'm afflicting you with pain, with plagues, to show my power. Now, as also keep this in mind, that the nations around Egypt will also witness this and take note of this. So in other words, God's power and name is being known through all the earth through these plagues. Verse 17, you are still acting arrogantly against my people by not letting them go. Tomorrow at this time I will rain down the worst hail that has ever occurred in Egypt from the day it was founded until now. Therefore, give orders to bring your livestock and all that you have into the fields and shelters. Every person and animal that is in the field and is not brought inside will die when the hail falls on them. Now this is kind of interesting, because think about this. This is even God's mercy here, because God could have just said, I'm going to rain hail down on you. But it's interesting that he tells them, y'all better not be in the field. Look at verse 20. Those among Pharaoh's officials who feared the word of the Lord made their servants and livestock flee to shelters. But those who didn't take the Lord's word seriously left their servants and livestock in the field. And that's sad. That notice that the Egyptians as well as Pharaoh hardened their hearts. Verse 22. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand towards the heavens and let there be hail throughout the land of Egypt, on man and beast and every plant of the field in the land of Egypt. So Moses stretched out his staff towards the heavens, and the Lord sent thunder and hail. Lightning struck the earth, and the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. The hail, with lightning flashes through it, was so severe that nothing like it had occurred in the land of Egypt since it became a nation. Throughout the land of Egypt, the hail struck down everything in the field, both man and beast. In other words, those men did not heed God died. Did not bring their beasts, did not bring their livestock in, they died. The hail beat down every plant of the field and shattered every tree in the field. The only place it didn't hail was in the land of Goshen, where the Israelites were. Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron. I have sinned this time, he said to them. Yahweh is a righteous one, and I and my people are the guilty ones. Make an appeal to Yahweh. There has been enough of God's thunder and hail. I will let you go. You don't need to stay any longer. Moses said to him, when I have left the city, I will extend my hands to Yahweh. The thunder will cease, and there will be no more hail, so that you may know that the earth belongs to Yahweh. Now notice, not any other of his gods. Remember, all of these plagues were attacking gods that Egypt worshiped. Verse 30, but as for you and your officials, I know that you still do not fear Yahweh your God. The flax and the barley were destroyed because the barley was ripe and the flax was budding, but the wheat and the spelt were not destroyed, since they are later crops. Moses went out from Pharaoh in the city and extended his hand towards the Lord. Then the thunder and hail ceased, and rain no longer poured down on the land. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain, hail, and thunder had ceased, he sinned again and hardened his heart, he and his officials. So Pharaoh's heart hardened, and he did not let the Israelites go, as the Lord had said through Moses. Again, very, very, very amazing here. And like I said, this to me shows more of the sinfulness of man that God is exposing and judging. But let's continue on. I want to finish chapter 10. All right, this is chapter 10, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his officials, so that I may do these miraculous signs of mine among them. And so you may tell your sons and grandsons how severely I dealt with the Egyptians and performed miraculous signs among them, and you will know that I am Yahweh. So Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh and told him, this is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, said, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may worship me. But if you refuse to let my people go, then tomorrow I will bring locusts into your territories. They will cover the surface of the land, so that no one will be able to see the land, and they will eat the remainder left to you that escaped the hail. They will eat every tree you have growing in the fields. They will fill your houses and all your officials' houses and the houses of all the Egyptians, something your fathers and ancestors never saw since the time they occupied the land until now. Then he turned and left Pharaoh's presence. Now, what is interesting here is, keep this thought in mind, that not only is God showing his power for the Israelites' sake, but he's also, remember, the Egyptians are seeing this, that they see the power of God. And what you see is the difference is one who is faithful to God, believing in God, while the other is hardening their God, not humbling themselves before God. Verse 7, Pharaoh's officials asked him, how long must this man be a snare to us? Let the men go so that they may worship Yahweh their God. Don't you realize yet that Egypt is devastated? So Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. Go worship Yahweh your God, Pharaoh says. But exactly who will be going? Now he's trying to bargain with God. Moses replied, we will go with our young and with our old. We will go with our sons and daughters and with our flocks and herds, because we must hold Yahweh's feast. He said to them, may Yahweh be with you if I ever let you and your families go. Look out, you are planning evil. No, only the men may go and worship Yahweh, for that is what you have been asking for. And they were driven from Pharaoh's presence. Kind of interesting, he said the men can go. If you kind of go back, some 40 years, right, at this point, when he tried to wipe out the men, the little male children. Verse 12, the Lord then said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt, and the locusts will come up over it and eat every plant in the land, everything that the hail left. So Moses stretched out his staff over the land of Egypt, And the Lord sent the east wind over the land all that day and through the night. And by morning the east wind had brought in the locusts. And the locusts went up over the entire land of Egypt and settled on the whole territory of Egypt. Never before had there been such a large number of locusts, and there never will be again. They covered the surface of the whole land so that the land was black, and they consumed all the plants on the ground and all the fruit on the trees that the hail had left. Nothing green was left on the trees or the plants in the fields throughout the land of Egypt. Pharaoh urgently sent for Moses and Aaron and said, I have sinned again, Yahweh. I have sinned against Yahweh your God and against you. Please forgive my sin once more and make an appeal to Yahweh your God so that he will take this death away from me. Moses left Pharaoh. Now it's kind of interesting. Notice it says here that Moses left Pharaoh without asking, let the people go. Moses, verse 18 again, Moses left Pharaoh's presence and appealed to the Lord. And the Lord changed the wind to a strong west wind, and it carried off the locusts and blew them into the Red Sea. Not a single locust was left in the territory of Egypt, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the Israelites go. This is kind of, I don't know, this is amazing, right? What would you do if you were in this situation, right? Well, what would you do? How would you respond? And as I said before, I think what this shows more in what God is exposing, and this is not the part of the text, obviously, but the sinfulness of man. The sinfulness of man. All right. Verse 21, then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand towards the heavens, and there will be darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness that can be felt. So Moses stretched out his hand towards the heaven, and there was a thick darkness throughout the land of Egypt for 3 days. One person could not see another, and for 3 days they did not move from where they were. Yet all of the Israelites had light where they lived. Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, go worship Yahweh, even your families may go with you. Only your flock and herd must stay behind. Now, still hardness of heart. I often wonder about this kind of darkness, right? I would be curious to experience, right? This darkness was so dark. I'm told there are caves that you can visit where this darkness is so dark that when they cut the lights out, you literally cannot see in front of you. And this darkness was so, he said, this darkness was so dark, so thick, you can feel it. And notice, no one moved for 3 days. Wow, that's amazing. Verse 25, Moses responded, you must also let us have sacrifice and burnt offerings and prepare for Yahweh our God. Even our livestock must go with us, and not a hoof will be left behind, because we will take some of them to worship Yahweh our God. We will not know what we will use to worship Yahweh until we get there. I kind of get the feeling Moses is explaining too much here at this point. Like, who cares, right? Pharaoh don't care. Just tell him, we got to go, Moses. But I digress. Verse 27, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was unwilling to let them go. And Pharaoh said to him, leave me. Make sure you never see my face again. For on the day that you see my face, you will die. He said, as you have said, Moses replied, I will never see your face again. Of course, he will see his face again. The very last plague, right? The very last plague, he's going to see his face. In fact, he's going to see his face a couple of more times. So this is sort of just a kind of a statement that both of them kind of traded insults. Yeah, I'm not going to see you again. Yeah, whatever, right? That's kind of his attitude. Yeah, whatever. All right, guys. Chapter 13. The next time he's going to prepare for the final devastating blow, the death blow that he will let him go after this. All right, guys. Chapter 13 in our next study. No, chapter 12, I think, is it? Chapters 11 and 12. I'm sorry. 11 and 12 in our next study. See you next time.